welcome to another episode of Shooting
the Shit with Rachel
and Neal Young. So we're talking all things real estate photography business growth, mindset, and getting it done. Here come your favorite true entrepreneurs, Rachel and Neal Young, shooting the shit.
I have a ferret on the podcast. Like if we're kind of in a slump, like what kind of things do you do?
Talking about a boob light.
Straddling a power line.
Nice photo.
Ooh, I need that.
I'm like red right now because I'm embarrassed. I go like this. I love it.
Come in.
Sure, use your podcast voice.
You know, over here, I'm kidding out.
Drone's like flipping to the ground.
That's a great callback.
Chit-chatting.
Is that what you call that? Hey!
This episode is brought to you by my admin. Well, HD Photo Hub, which is basically like having an admin.
That's right. And it's not just a delivery platform. It's a powerhouse designed to make your work shine. From stunning teaser videos and social media reels to custom property websites and polished printable flyers, HD Photo Hub automates it all so you can focus on what matters, growing your business.
That's right. Hey, everybody. We're back on the podcast talking today about goals. So I've got an interesting kind of tidbit I got from an audiobook that I really liked and kind of changed my mindset on goals. So there's a team that have all been given a whole new goal. Their normal goal for the year was they had to hit this mark for whatever it was, commission or whatever, $400,000. And the company changed its mind, decided they're going to reassess that, and they actually doubled it to 800,000. So they get a room of all these people going, what? We barely made that goal before, and now you're doubling it? How are we supposed to do this? Let's have this coach come in, and the coach is like, well, listen, why don't you just put your thinking hats on and come up with, what's the plan? What would have to happen? What would have to change in order to hit this goal? And so a couple hours, they all work at it, and finally one guy raises his hand. He's like, I've got it. I can do it. Here's the plan. He's like, okay, tell me the plan. So he explains the plan that he's got, and the plan is to hit $800,000. And the coach looks at him and says, okay, what you got is a plan for failure. And the whole room's just like, what? They changed from like excitement about this to automatically, what do you mean a plan for failure? He said, how many times have you ever had a plan that went flawlessly? And of course, everybody's like, pretty much never. It's like, okay, so you just made a plan to hit the goal exactly. All those things had to perfectly align to hit 800 grand. So you've just set yourself up to fail. And they're like, oh man. And I just love that thought. Like, oh yeah, you got to think bigger. And so the whole core behind this thing, and this was actually from the AI Driven Leader book, which is a really good book. Not all what you'd think it would be based on the title. But anyway, he said, you really got to expand your goal to be something much bigger and much greater to actually hit that and to actually blow it out of the park as well. So they thought way bigger with their goals. End of the story is that they came up with this goal. They worked backwards to go, okay, this goal that seems totally impossible, just start thinking, what are the things you would have to change in order to possibly ever reach that goal? And so it really forces you to really think about your practices and what you're doing in your business and what would have to change. And not only what would have to change, but what you might have to shift in priorities. You might have to change what your regular priority was in place of something else that was more important. So some things would have to be, less important and focused on a little bit less. And a whole bunch makes you think about a whole bunch of core things that you would change to get where you want. So for example, in my business, if I want to not work again, like that sounds impossible, but that's the goal I should set. I should say, if that's really where you want to get to, you're not going to have to work at all. What would have to change in order to get there? Now, the other thing about this kind of thinking for goals is that this is not necessarily going to be in 6 months or in 1 year. It's more of a long-term goal. But when you work backwards from that and you really do some big thinking, it starts you headed in the right direction. And when you're doing that bigger thinking, you really start annihilating your regular goals because you're changing the core things that need to be changed to get to this crazy big goal.
Totally. I love that. Yeah. The dream big thing is so important, to just have an unrealistic goal of something that you want to achieve, because we're all capable of it. It's just a matter of knowing exactly the steps, like reverse engineering your goal. What do you have to do to get there? Right? What steps do I need
Mhm.
to take? What do I need to implement? What do I need to track in order to reach my goal? Because if you don't set up and figure out what the steps are that you need to do to get to your goal, nothing, you're never going to make the change. You
Right.
can say you want to do something all day long, but that's just a dream until you actually start working towards it and putting things in place that you're prioritizing over other stuff, like you were just saying, to reach your goal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Rach has some actual tactics here for how you can actually get to these goals. Because yeah, just saying you have a goal and not doing anything about it, it's never going to become a
That's a
reality.
dream. It's a dream. And dreams are great. We got a dream, but we need to make this a reality. So, this is a method called the 135 method. I learned this through the six pack coaching program.
Mm.
One of the weekly coaching calls, they went over this and they gave us the PDF. So, I'll attach the PDF or actually give you a link to the PDF as well. So, you can download this and fill it out if you would like. But the 135 method is pretty simple and honestly, like, makes complete sense after you hear it. You're like, well, duh. So I did this on the plane ride to PMRE this year.
Mm.
And I did one for Focused Media Collective. I did one for Grow with Rach and Neal for our courses. And then I did one for the six pack because we make $97 for every person that signs up. So it's kind of an affiliate program with the six pack. So if you want to join the six pack and get ripped, links below. Anyways, that's my plug. Okay, so 135 methods. So you have one main goal that you want
Yep.
to achieve. Okay. Then you take that main goal and you have three subcategories or sub goals or priorities to achieve that one main goal.
Mm.
And then you take each one of those three subcategories or sub goals and you break that into 5 tactics for reaching that sub goal.
Mm.
Okay, so it's almost like this little, like, what is that? Like a family tree, like a
Yeah,
pyramid.
yeah, totally.
Like
That's
starts
yeah.
big, one at the top, then 3, and then you're gonna have
Yep.
15 things written out down below each of the,
Mhm.
so 5 for each. So I did this for Focus Media Collective. I thought it'd be fun just kind of run you through what I wrote down in November. This has changed a little bit, just because goals do that, right? But this gave me just an overview look of what I actually need to do in order to reach my main goal is to make $1 million in the year.
Mm.
And that's, before taxes come out and all that. It's just doing that much volume,
Yep.
which we're not that far off. Like this is totally attainable. I probably should have gone for like 2 million,
Mm.
but I'm struggling with this growing thing because I'm kind of comfortable where we're at. But
Psst. Sorry to interrupt. If you haven't heard, Rach and I are using Pixl CRM.
Pixl CRM isn't just another boring tool. It's basically your business's best friend. With Pixl
Mm.
CRM, you can automate your lead generation, follow-ups, client communication, and stay top of mind with email campaigns. And there's just so much more.
And if you want, you can try it out today. Just go to pixelcrm.com/STS and you're going to get the first month of Pixl CRM free.
It would make my life easier if I could just get 2 more shooters. So the goal
Mm.
is 1 million. That's my one main goal. The 3 strategies are do more broker presentations, in-person events, sponsoring events. So in-person networking
Mm-hmm.
is
Yep.
basically. Number 2 was to hire 2 shooters. And number 3 was to set up email marketing. So I could be putting out some targeted campaigns and sequences that go out to clients.
Mm.
Email marketing to me, I love it. We own our email list. We do social media very well and we're very active. And that's been a great lead source for me. So I don't feel like I need to do that, but I feel like email is, they shut down TikTok for like a day, right? But still,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of is a wake up call. Like if you don't have an email list, you should probably get one because at any moment they could shut down any of those platforms. We don't own those
Mm.
platforms. So having an email list and having an email platform for me has been a priority. And we're going to plug Pixl CRM because that's who I'm now using for my email marketing. And it's incredible. It does so much. But first, let's take that first goal, which was to do more in-person events, right?
Yep.
That was my first subcategory. And we're going to
Mm-hmm.
break that into 5 tactics for reaching my sub goal. So one is to have Casey, my assistant, email. She has our whole client list and she's sending out 10 emails a week, which we've drafted an email template basically that just asks if I could come to your office and give a presentation and add value to your team. So that has been successful. I think we've booked four,
Mm,
five different things through that. In-person events where me doing a broker presentation or doing a headshot pop-up. So
mhm,
it's been great. Um, Another thing I need to do is build three different presentations that I could give, which I've done that.
mhm,
So I've got 3 ways to build your personal brand, how to get comfortable on camera, and then gear that you need to get started on video now. And all three of those things indirectly advertise my services, but also add a ton of value to the clients.
mhm.
And at the end, I have a download that they can scan a QR code and get the download, or they can buy our content calendar, and I get their email address. And now they're put on my email list. So, and when I'm there, I get all the emails anyway. So I put them on our newsletter.
Rach, can you imagine if you had to go back to a world pre-HD Photo Hub?
Oh, no way. No, HG Photo Hub literally saved my life during the COVID craze
Yeah.
with online ordering, their invoicing, the photo delivery, the Google integration, and just having everything on one platform. HG Photo Hub really does it all. And I cannot imagine my business without it.
Same. Pre-HD Photo Hub, I feel like I was just spending all my time chasing my own tail. It was horrible. The
Mhm.
good news is our listeners get a special deal. If you enter the code STS, you're going to get 10 free full marketing kit deliveries. Remember, enter the code STS.
List. But so that's been effective. And then I ask clients when I'm on site shooting, I'll ask clients if I could come do a broker presentation at their office. Even though they've gotten that, maybe they've gotten the email, I don't know. I just like to bring it up in person, and talking about doing a headshot event too is a good way to get my foot in the door. So, and then booking headshot pop ups. What's another one? I said swag giveaway, which I don't really think that having swag and giveaway stuff, I think I was just reaching for another thing when I was writing this down originally.
Yep. Mhm.
Um, but it is nice to have that swag to leave behind at a photo. When you do these broker presentations, I have mugs that say Focus Media Collective and then Go Be Awesome on the other side of them. So I
Mm.
leave those behind, or I brought cookies to the last one, crumble cookie. That's why I fell off my meal plan, because I ate like 8 of those little mini crumble cookies. They were so good. But anyways, yeah. So, bringing something that you can leave with them that they will remember you by.
Mm.
Um, and then what's another one? Book headshot pop-ups, kind of mentioned that already. And then sponsoring events was one. So Real Producers gives me a lot of opportunities to sponsor events. They've also asked me to partner with them on a couple different events they have coming up. I've been invited to mastermind events recently, just from connections I've made with different lenders and different title people. I'm going to one next week, so that's great. So any in-person things that I can sponsor, right? So it might cost $500, or I might have to buy lunch for the group, but it's getting me there and it's getting me in front of more people.
Mm.
And I'm using that time to network, to introduce myself, and then following up. The biggest part of all of this is just following up with people and doing the things you said you were going to do. If you say, someone's interested in something and you need to follow up with them, like, be sure that you actually do. So, okay, next category of my 3 was to hire 2 shooters. So 5 of my tactics for reaching this goal um, was to do a Facebook post or social media I haven't done this yet. I had 3 people in mind for being shooters, and they all kind of fell through, which is really bummer, like a huge bummer. Because honestly, I think if I got 1 shooter, we'd be fine. I don't really need 2, and I thought I had 3 people, and none of them worked out. So,
Mm.
I'm back to square one. So I need to put out a Facebook post or a social media post. Number 2 is to update our handbook that has kind of all the documents. It's like a visual of like lists of what to shoot, what not to shoot, all
Mm.
of our processes and procedures. We have that. It just needs updated. Make sure it's all up to date. It's been a year since I hired a trainer or a shooter. So, on-site training, that's a lot of one-on-one with me, just walking them through everything. I want to do some social media with the shooter, just introduce them to my audience and let them know we've got a new guy on board, and show that he's been out, or they've been out training with me,
Mhm.
that they are ready to go and up to speed. And
Right.
then get headshots and stuff for them as well to add them onto so they have a professional headshot. And then kind of evaluate them frequently, like reviewing all their work as much as possible. So. And lastly was the email marketing piece, which it's funny because I wrote this out before PMRE and we met Pete from Pixl CRM at
Hmm.
PMRE and he told me all about his system and what he's offering and I was like, sign me up please because this is exactly what I need. I literally just wrote it down on my goal sheet to do email marketing. So the cool thing about Pixl CRM is that you can build out these really complex situational email sequences where like for instance here's a sequence I'm putting together this week. I just had a headshot pop-up event and when I signed the person in and did their headshot, I'd ask them first, last name, email, phone number. And then I would say, are you interested in real estate photography services? And most of them said, you know what, I already have someone, but I'm always interested. And I'd say, oh, great. Well, that's why I'd put yes. And then I'd ask the same question, are you interested in lifestyle photos? And they'd say yes. And so I'd put them on there. So now I have a list of the 8 people that I shot last week. They're all interested in lifestyle and real estate services. So now I need to follow up with them. So I am going to set up a Calendly link, which you can, Pixl CRM replaces Calendly. So you can set up a calendar invite that's linked to your Google Calendar. You can put it on a landing page and then you send that to the client, asking them to pick a date and time. You put a little video on there that says, hey, it was so nice to meet you, Kelly. Like, thank you for having me out to do your headshots. I know you want to learn more about real estate photography and lifestyle photography. If you want to pick a spot or a time below, we'll hop on a call and I can run you through what we can do for you. Now we can help you simplify your marketing, right? Like I'm recording that video after we do this for them, one
Nice.
individual for each person. And then I email that out. And then the next, it'll be situational. So like if they click on the calendar and pick a date and time to meet with me, then nothing else happens. They just get an email confirmation saying, we'll see you next week at 2 o'clock or whatever. Right. But if they don't click on it, I'm going to wait 1 day or 2 days. If they don't click on it, then it sends them another reminder email and says, hey, I noticed you haven't picked a date and time. Let me know if maybe some of those times don't work for you and we can adjust and see what we have available. And then if they don't pick a time again, it gives them one more reminder. And then after that, then it just times out. Right. So it's emails like that where you can really target and remind people. It's like an abandoned cart, right? You guys have all gotten these emails where you go in a shopping cart and you buy something, you put it in your cart, and then you decide I don't want it. And then you get an email and they're like, hey, I saw you didn't check out. It's like, how do they do that? Well, this system does that. It does all of that.
Yep.
So it's pretty complex. It's a lot to get set up. It's a little overwhelming at first, but Pete has these workshops that he's putting together once a week. He's training live right now. He's going through it. I think he's on week 3 or 4, just walking you through. They're about an hour long, and he's recording these calls and then breaking them into chunks so that you can actually follow along. And he's teaching you basically the whole system, and it builds on itself. So you're going to have everything that you need to set the system up to make it work for you and to make it just be that like lead generating engine that you need it to be. So for me, when we get a new client through HD Photo Hub, which it syncs with HD Photo Hub, when we get that new client, they then get put onto an email list of welcome to Focus Media Collective. And we're going to have like a 5 email sequence introducing them to here's all of our services. Here's how you set up your client portal. Here's what to do if you need to reschedule, like all the basics just to get them familiar with the system.
Hmm.
So that's something that me and Casey are working on. So anyways, got a great plug for Pixl CRM. They're fantastic, but it just fell into my lap. I'm like, this is perfect. This is
Right.
exactly what I've needed.
So cool.
And these systems take time and energy to set up, but once you get them going, it's like a no-brainer. And the other cool thing, they have brand AI in there, which you basically feed it who your
Yeah.
target market is.
Yep.
It discovers what your voice is. It evaluates your website. You put in your what else? Your niche, your target market, your pain points, your unique value proposition, or something else. A couple other things. Oh, what they're trying, like, what's their worst case scenario? What are they trying to avoid? Your target market. Um, and then it goes through and saves all that information and creates your brand playbook, which then allows you to automatically generate newsletters that are tailored towards your target market and your client and it sounds like you because it's your brand voice. So that's interesting. I just started setting that up. So it's got a lot of like tools in there that just make this kind of easy and a no-brainer. So there's a couple sequences that are already set up for you, just templates that they're kind of plug and play. Um, so yeah, I needed to set up for, let's get back to the goals. We're on a huge tangent. Thank you for listening. Um, the third one was email marketing. So my 5 tactics for reaching that sub goal are to create a lead magnet, which a lead magnet is something you're giving away for free in
Mm,
exchange for their email address. Okay. So
right.
maybe it's your gear list, or maybe it's like 5 free hooks for your next social media post or whatever, right? Your free
Hmm.
home checklist, photo
Yeah.
checklist, like stuff like
Yeah.
that. Do you have one of those, Neil?
No,
You have a
I
lead
don't.
magnet?
I don't currently have one. No, I don't. But yeah, those I like the hooks one would be a good one. I think hooks for like a walkthrough video intro might be a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Or also I think I've seen you do some posts on, what you need to create reels. So if you gave them
Mm-hmm.
like the 5 things you need with the links in Amazon free,
Yes. Yeah,
that would be great. Yeah.
totally. Okay, so number 2 was a cold email sequence. So when it's a cold lead that comes in, someone that really doesn't know me well, it's
Mm,
an email sequence of like 7 to 10 emails that go out a few days apart or a week apart to just kind of warm them up to the idea of who we are. We're not asking them to buy anything. We're just really giving them valuable information. And then towards the end, we start saying, here's how you can book a shoot with us. So it
right.
warms them
Right.
up to the idea of working with us.
Hmm.
Um, and then I needed a warm email sequence. And I wrote email software, which we found, Pixl CRM. So that was great.
Right.
And
Right.
then train Casey to get this all set up so she can do it for me.
Manage it and all that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Totally.
manage it. Yeah. So
Yeah. Cool.
yeah, so that's kind of the 135 method really breaks down your goals in a way where when you look at it, you're like, okay, this is doable. Like if
Yeah.
I do these 3 things, there's
Yeah.
no reason I shouldn't make it to a million or 2 million at
Yeah. It
that.
makes it way more real when you can see the actual items to take action on in the
Yeah,
list. Right. Yeah.
exactly.
No, I love
Exactly.
that. I think that's really great. Yeah. So, and I would look at this and go, okay, if I want to not have to shoot anymore, what has to happen?
Right.
And part of that is very similar. I got to get a bunch. I got to figure out how much individual shooter would make, and how many of those would I need to replace my income. I'd start there.
Hmm. Right. Yeah. So
Right?
evaluate costs,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. And what would have to change from my playbook, during my day, what would change? Well, I wouldn't be able to go in the field anymore. And what would I be focusing on then? And
You
there's always
wouldn't
those
work at all,
trade-offs.
Neil. You'd be like me and you'd be like, I'm just taking the day off because I deserve it. No, you'd build another empire, wouldn't you, Neil?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I think we would just be doing more and more shooting the shit stuff, I think, which is what we're
Mm-hmm.
doing.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, there would always be something. You can't, the sitting there and doing nothing is fun for a minute, and then you're like, all right, this is boring. What am I gonna do? Right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
No, it's funny because, well, like since I've stepped away from master plan, I don't have all these because Dan used to call me a lot and we'd talk a lot on the phone about ideas and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of he's a verbal processor. So it was a lot of
Mm.
talking, which is
Yeah.
fine. But I didn't realize how much of my time that was actually taking up and like bandwidth of my brain because it takes power to listen, brain power to listen to people talk and to try to be attentive and all that. And so it was, yeah, it's interesting when I took that away the last month or so, and I haven't really been traveling with that very much at all or doing anything with it. I mean, we did one episode a few weeks ago, but that's it. Um, it's been very freeing. I do actually have days where there's very little on the schedule, and then it's like, okay, let's look at the goal board, which I have on a whiteboard next to my desk, so I can see it. I'm like,
Yep.
what do I need to do now to get to that goal? So, yeah, yeah, it's
Cool.
good.
That is
Good
good.
stuff.
That's great. I love it.
So, and ChatGPT can be trained as well. I just trained ChatGPT a little bit more. I said, "Hey, please don't ever use the word delve, shine, or elevate in my any of my stuff. And
Mm,
if you do, use it very sparingly." And it has
interesting.
now removed those words because that is a dead giveaway.
Ah,
Um,
Yeah.
That it's
Yeah, I heard
ChatGPT.
I saw a post recently that said if you are using ChatGPT to, do posts, tell it not to do bullets and like
Mm.
what is I forget what the verbiage is for when the headers are all caps. They
Mm.
said that the combination of those two is very visually obvious that this is how ChatGPT does it. So
Oh, interesting.
change your formatting, don't do as much of the list format like they do it. So, oh, that's an interesting thought.
Mm.
Yeah. The more
That's
people
great.
start paying attention to that. Yeah. Huh.
Yeah. Crazy.
Cool. Well,
So,
great. I
anyways,
love this. So yeah,
yeah.
get some giant goals, guys. Get something that you're
Yeah.
like afraid of. A goal that scares you a little bit. And then go, okay, but I love this goal, but it's scary because I don't know how I would get there. And then start to think about what would have to change, what would you have to do to start to get there? And guess what? You're gonna start working in that direction. You'll eventually get there. I
Yeah.
love it.
And go download the 135 method
Yep.
worksheet. It'll help you. You can just
Break
fill
it
it out.
down with that. Yep.
Awesome,
Awesome.
guys.
Cool.
Well, have a
See you on the
wonderful
next one.
day.
Okay.
Bye.